Good morning. Welcome to this morning's lecture on step number 4 of the forensic investigation process. Step number 4 is the preparation of the suspects and the witnesses rough list. These are rough list because these are the witnesses or the suspects you first get from the client. The witnesses and suspects will be mentioned by the client during the preliminary or pre-engagement investigation. When you carry out the preliminary review, you will interview the client and they will tell you the person who first raised the alarm or reported the allegations of wrongdoing. That is the principal witness for now. And then the client will also, from the interview, the client will also tell you the names of staff or executives who are suspected to have been involved in the perpetration of fraud or corruption or whatever is alleged to be the wrongdoing. The witness, that is the person who reported the wrongdoing, might have listed the names of the people suspected to be involved in the perpetration of that crime. Those are the people that will go to the rough list. That is, in step 4, you are trying to list these people before you start the documentary evidence correction analysis and the rest. Why should this happen before the correction and examination and analysis of documentary evidence? As I can say, this is where the investigation proper begins. This is where you begin the investigation. Because you are now identifying the people or the staff that you must treat with a lot of care during the document correction analysis and examination. Why should this happen? People like suspected staff can easily mislead you if you don't know. But if you know beforehand and you are dealing with that person, you have the information that is a suspect, but he doesn't know, or she doesn't know that you know that he or she is a suspect. Therefore, you will be monitoring the body language when you ask for documents, when you ask for some questions for clarification. You will be monitoring to see the body language, how the responses are coming from that kind of suspects. You will also be very careful so that you are not misled by the suspects. The witnesses as given by the client will also be treated with a lot of care, because it has been proved that those staff who perpetrate most dangerous frauds and pretend to be the whistleblowers are in most cases the culprits. And as you carry out the investigation, you will be surprised to learn that the names you were given by the client as witnesses are very good people who will be able to give you proper information will turn out to be suspects, principal, not just the suspects, but the principal suspects. And those who were given as suspects by the client or the whistleblower might turn out to be the proper witnesses, the principal witnesses. And this will be made very clear when you advance in your correction, gathering, analysis, and examination of evidential documents and other exhibits. The preparation of this lab list will give you now will be the basis for the interviewing process, because the next steps after documentary evidence correction, analysis, and examination will be interviewing of witnesses, and then followed by interviewing of suspects. These interviews will also shed a lot of light on the suspects, on the witnesses, and then this list will be refined. This list will be refined as the investigation advances. If in the process of the investigation, in the process of documents, evidential documents, correction, gathering, analysis, and examination, you find that the person who was listed on this lab list as a witness has turned to become a principal suspect, then you will edit the list to move that person from the witnesses list to the suspects list, and vice versa. The reverse is true. If you find that the person who was initially mentioned as a suspect is proving to be a very good witness, then you edit the report, removing that person from the suspects list to the witnesses list. The documentary, the document correction, analysis, and examination will shed a lot of light on this lab list, and it will lead to the editing until at the end of the forensic external confirmations, which you should have a near perfect list of suspects and witnesses, which will be used for interviewing steps, interviewing and interrogation steps. I'm saying that it will be almost perfect. It will be almost perfect after documentary evidence analysis and the forensic external confirmations are complete, because this list will keep on changing as the interviewing steps advance. You will learn when we come to interviewing of witnesses that during the interviewing of witnesses, the investigators or the interviewers will find that the people they are interviewing as witnesses are not actual witnesses, but actual suspects, and therefore they will be marked for the final listing as suspects. And when it comes to the interviewing of suspects, the reverse will be true and might happen. You will find that we are interviewing a person as a marked suspect, but during the interviewing, you find this person very forthright, and the information he or she is giving indicates that he should be moved to the witnesses list. And then after the interviewing of witnesses and suspects, at the end of it, and even at the end of the interrogation, you will now have a perfect list of witnesses and the suspects that will be put in the forensic investigation report. And these are the people that will be summoned to the court of law, either to be prosecuted or to stand as witnesses in the during the prosecution of the suspects. As you progress on with the preparation of the list, the rough list of witnesses and suspects, you will keep on going back to the client and updating him of what is going on. Uh, because of this, because of that update, continuous update, if you are moving someone from the witness list to the suspect list, you have to update the client. And if you are moving someone from suspects list to the witnesses list, you have to update the client. And in that process, the client might come up with more suggestions. It will come up, it will definitely come up with more suggestions of the people to be included, either on the suspects list or on the witnesses list. This is very important. This is very important step because, as I've already said, it will save you from a lot of trouble. Because if you are dealing with suspects and you do not know that they are suspects, you do not have their list and the names and where they work, the departments, you will easily be misled by the suspects. And at this stage, I would like you to note that it is not advisable to always send all suspected staff on leave. It's not always in the best interest of the investigation to send the suspected staff on leave. Because you will find that if the organization environment is very complex and the staff that are suspected are the experts, and you send them on leave, you might not be able to get the evidence. It is better you keep them there, and if they are IT experts, you just image the system before the investigation starts, and then let them give you the information to the best of their knowledge. And if they are trying to change the systems and do some other things that will look like covering up their tracks, then you will have that will serve as additional evidence that they are suspects, because you already have the image of the system before the investigation starts. So as you progress, you will be comparing the system you have, the entries, everything, the transactions with the current system. If you find that the person you are dealing with who is giving you information is trying to alter some information, changing some things in the system, you should pick those ones up and then use them as additional evidence against the staff. But if you send these people out of the organization, you find it very difficult for you to get some of the information. Uh, I've found this to be helpful practically, because there's an investigation we did where I was the lead investigator, and the finance manager was the person suspected to have swindled uh, a lot of cash out of the organization in 3 years. And this person was like doing everything in the finance department. He was doing A to Z. He did not have a lot of staff, and therefore he was doing the entries, he was doing the cash transactions, he was doing the withdrawings from the bank, he was doing the payments, he was doing actually almost everything. And when the chief executive officer, the hiring person, decided that we send the person on leave, compulsory leave, to allow for the investigation to continue, I thought over that idea and advised the CEO not to do that, to let me work with the finance manager. And we did a very good investigation. And in fact, the finance manager was very cooperative. He gave us all the documents. He gave us all the information, and he even implicated some of the directors who were misusing him, misapplying him as the finance manager to draw unauthorized funds for them from the bank. And when we sought opportunity to interview the directors, the CEO advised us not to interview the directors because that could open a Pandora box, lead to more problems for even the CEO himself. So we did the investigation, compiled the report, recommended further investigation and interviewing of the mentioned directors. We had the information, we had the evidence that they were the suspects, and this information was given by the finance manager. We recommended for the prosecution of the finance manager, but the CEO also advised that it will not be for the best interest of the organization and for himself to prosecute the finance manager. So what he told us when we filed the final report with him is that please leave this report for me. It is good, and I will take the appropriate action. Uh, uh, the appropriate action. I will take it at the right time. We left the organization, and after some 3 days, he gave me information. He gave me a call, and told me that he had summarily dismissed the finance manager, and that is where the story ended. There was no further investigation instituted against the three directors that were cooperating, short of cooperating with the finance manager to defraud the organization millions of cash. So that is why, in most cases, I advise my students and the participants of my trainings not to be in hurry to allow compulsory leave of staff, key staff, or staff with a special expertise to be on leave during the investigation. You cannot progress well. You will not get the information you require for your investigation. If those people were left to be the sole custodian of the organization's information system. There was also another case where the fraud was discovered in an organization. And when the investigators came in, internal auditors, the security people, including the police from outside the organization. They sent the principal suspect on leave, compulsory leave. And when they discovered that it was very hard for them to progress with the investigation without him, they decided to call him. They sent a messenger, a driver, to go and call him back to the organization to answer some questions. Do you know what he did? He sent back the driver messenger to give them information that he had already taken enough from the organization and he was satisfied. He did not have anything to do with the organization and the investigation. And they say them if they are not able to carry out their investigation, let them resign and do some other business. So he refused to come back. He ran away and he was never traced. That is the disadvantage of rushing to send staff on leave, suspected staff on leave. So if you are not sending them on leave, then this step number 4 is very important for you. You must be having their names. You must be having their details. You must be having the details of what they do, so that when you require information touching on their field, you will ask them to provide the information, and then you treat that information with care as you observe their body language and take notes. And these notes you take during these the evidence correction stage will assist you in the investigation steps. This is the end of the today's lecture on step number 4, preparation of the suspects or witnesses lab list. Thank you very much for listening, and welcome to the second lecture of today, almost 10 hours from now, at 7 p.m. exactly, our time in East Africa. I'll be coming online to discuss step number 5, documentary evidence correction, analysis, and examination. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.